Hi, welcome to Yogis that Inspire, episode 4. I have the beautiful goddess Olivia Mercado from Bolivia. And if you don't know about her, she is 700-hour plus trained yoga practitioner. She's a Reiki master. She is a Tantra teacher and has studied that as well. And she has an incredible energy about her. So Olivia is joining us. So if you all haven't seen already episode 1 of Yogis that Inspire, this is episode 2, the continuation. I am so happy I can see you. I think Olivia may be having some Wi-Fi issues. So if this doesn't work, please stay tuned. Hi. Um, Hello, Yo Soy Asir. Thank you. Say hi. Please bear with us. Hopefully Olivia's connection will improve, which it didn't improve. So I think she's left. Olivia, can you please send us another request to be in the video? Hopefully this will work. So I met Olivia in Vikasa in 2017. I was there doing a yoga retreat. And then I again went back there to do a yoga teacher training in 2000, later that year. And that's how we connected. She worked at Vikasa actually. She was one of the marketing managers there. So she also did a degree in marketing. So Olivia, if you have Wi-Fi, so Yo Soy Asir wants to be in my video. Okay. Thank you for the request. I might actually see if Olivia comes. So she can, hold on, let's view request to go live with Olivia. Hi, Latofi. Hi!
So
Hi
I
again.
jungle. I have stepped outside of the house, and I literally have like the highest point, and my phone is like, well, on my other hand. Let's see if this works. It's the joys of living. I think it's better.
I think you feel the universe, the jungle power, right?
Here in my balcony and see what happens.
Okay, let's go. So I've given you a really good introduction so far.
Going. I don't know what you said, but thank you.
Yeah.
I know that you. So it's mutual.
So Olivia, we'll talk about the tantalizing topic of tantra. And you have studied it, and please tell us. We'll start off. How does tantra and yoga relate?
What was the question? How does tantra? How's tantra? Can you repeat the question?
And yoga relate? Yeah. How does
Yes.
tantra and yoga relate?
So, Tantra and yoga are both spiritual paths. Yoga, as known in the Western world, is a lot more to do with bodily movements, whereas Tantra in the Western world, as well, is considered more in line with sexuality. Well, in reality, both yoga and Tantra are much more vast than what people give them credit for. So, Tantra is much more than just sex, and yoga is much more than just body movements. Both are paths of spiritual liberation and freedom, and a way to know ourselves, our deeper, true essence.
How would you describe tantra?
Tantra is a spiritual path that allows and accepts and receives everything around you as a way to back to the self, to your truth, including sexuality.
Okay. And including, yes. So how has the knowledge of tantra changed your life?
Oh my God! Before Tantra, I used to be shy. Like, I didn't think I was pretty enough. I always was fighting my weight. I always, even though I've never been fat, but I always thought like, oh, that kind of aspect of so many women who are self-critical. So I was also self-critical. I would never dare to wear a bikini that was like too revealing because I thought, oh, my God, my legs, and I've got cellulite. I don't know, all sorts of bullshit in my head. And when I came to Tantra, it was the first time, I think, the opportunity that I had to look at what are these preconceived notions of beauty. What is my feminine essence? How do I tap into that feminine power? How do I radiate from that place of security and authenticity? And so, in understanding polarities and masculine and feminine, it completely opened up my mind on a whole other level to pleasure, because pleasure isn't only of the realm of sexuality, but just pleasure in life, like how to enjoy a day like this when it's windy and it's crazy and I don't know what to expect, just pleasure and enjoying and allowing and receiving.
Okay, nice. So, for those who don't know much about Tantra, like what sort of practices would you say is like a tantric practice? Like
One of my favorites is called
self Tantra.
Yab. Yeah, well, Yab is a practice that you have that I've practiced with partners of mine. And Yab means grandfather, grandmother. And so you sit in a designated
Grandfather.
in a in a position, every single chakra.
Okay, cut out a little bit there, but all I got was you sit in a position where you feel and sense every single chakra.
Yes, yours and your partner. And so it's a
Uh,
passing of energy that it depends to what level and to what degree you are intimate with your partner. You can practice it just like sitting, maybe like a little bit of distance between you guys, or the woman can be sitting on the man's lap with her legs wrapped around the back, and the hands are in a particular position, one on the sacrum and one on the back, on the upper back.
okay. I think we're having slight Wi-Fi issues with Olivia's. Um, Olivia, I think the Wi-Fi is still
It's
having slight connection
frozen.
issues.
There we go. That is correct. It's better than it was, but it's definitely.
Yeah. And I think you have so much wisdom on this Tantra topic that I'd love to hear everything you have to say in more depth. Do you think we should reschedule for tomorrow?
Are we
Olivia?
there? Yes. Yes. We're kind of
Yes,
back.
we're kind
So
of back. I think.
we're kind of back. Thank you. And then there will be a replay. Maybe we can edit the replay. I'm not sure. So yeah, so it's a beautiful practice. And then if you are very intimate with your partner, then
Okay.
the magic is already inside, like sexually, extremities and all. And it's a very beautiful practice because it doesn't involve a lot of movement, but you're moving a lot of energy.
Okay. And what is your opinion on, I know this is yoga related, but the yama brahmacharya, which is like abstinence, like sexually, right? So, what is your opinion on that yama brahmacharya?
Brahmacharya is there for a very special reason, which is to govern your energies. So be like, if we categorize it as just sexual, that's where it's like, well, how come? But actually it's just governing your energies in general. Like when you are in a meeting and people are gossiping and you feel like I'm not in alignment with this moment or this energy, stand up and leave. Or when people are complaining, like so many people, oh, COVID this, COVID that, stand up and leave. And with the sexual energy, because sex is such a potent vehicle of moving energy, that's why brahmacharya is there. That's why brahmacharya protect our sexual energy, which is same energy as any energy, and then we don't waste that.
Okay, I understand. So, what is the most common myth about Tantra that you would like to debunk?
That Tantra has everything to do with sex. That is not true. Tantra is much more than just sexuality. Like I said, it's a doorway that takes us to our higher self, to our notion of our divine essence, and it's a sacred practice. So it's not just the Kama Sutra, and yeah, it's so rich and so vast. So whoever is interested in, because as it is a doorway, it is an option to experience self. The same as yoga, through the bodily movements and through the way that we breathe, we achieve certain connection with our true essence. In the same way, Tantra allows us to use everything around us, including sexuality, to also get to know the self. So it is through Tantra as well, I believe, that we dive into the shadow self. You know, how often we reject and we don't want to think of ourselves like, oh, I never get upset, I'm never angry, I never judge people, I'm so perfect. But Tantra is exactly that. It's the path that tells us about yin and yang, about masculine, feminine energies, about all of these, uh, you know, basically how we are and who we are as human beings.
Mm. So, how would you practice Tantra alone then?
How do we practice Tantra?
Alone, as a singular person.
How, no, can you repeat the
Or
question again?
so, can Tantra be practiced alone? And how would you
Oh,
do that?
absolutely. Because understanding how your energy flows, only from there, then can you practice with someone else. For example, a tantric practice that you can have is the mirror practice, which as love work, I call it, as homework. And I'm gonna wait because I think you're paused. There you go. You're back. And I tell them to go and look in the mirror and proclaim their love to themselves. And I've had clients come back and say that was so tough to do because I saw the person in the mirror and I didn't even recognize that woman or that man. You know, and so starting from getting intimate with oneself, only when you can get intimate, truly intimate with yourself and see all aspects of yourself, can you then show up and be vulnerable for someone else.
Beautiful, beautiful. And when you look in the mirror, are you looking like at your whole self naked, or are you clothed, or?
And that's the thing, is when I assign this, people get all sorts of shy. I mean, we're not talking about anyone else watching this, but just you with yourself. And all of a sudden, like, some of my clients have been like, oh my God, really? Like, oh, I don't know. Because then you really proclaim your love to every part of your body, even the parts that you deem are not perfect. Like maybe you have chubby arms. Like I've always thought of myself like, oh, well, I have chubby arms. And then a time came in my life where I was like, you know what? I love my arms. I love my hips. I love my tiny. I love my eyes. And it's not always easy, you know. It's kind of even seemed as strange or weird to love yourself so deep and so hard. But that is the medicine to even love ourselves.
Amazing. And what is the best tantric resource that you have come across?
Oh, awareness. Awareness. I mean, when it comes to resources, if we're talking about a specific book, there is one that is like one of those, like, one size fits all. It's like one of those condoms. It's like one size fits all. I don't even wonderful. And the book is called, I'm gonna wait because you're paused. That's not the name of it. Yeah, the book is called The Way of the Superior Man, and the name of the author is David Data, and in it he describes energies and polarity and the purpose of the man and the purpose of the woman and so forth.
Okay, wonderful. And what is the most common myth about yoga that you would like to debunk?
Two, actually. One, I'm not
Okay.
flexible enough. I
Oh,
have
yeah.
heard this, like, oh, I don't do yoga because I'm just, it's, that's not for me because I'm not flexible enough. Like, people aren't born, well, actually, people, as babies, we are very flexible. But then because life happens, we become inflexible. And yoga returns that flexibility to us because at a deeper level, we work at the level of the mind. So yoga is primarily a mind exercise, and then the body follows. So thinking that the body is the impediment to arriving at yoga is flawed, and it is absolutely used as an excuse. So just try, and if you can breathe, you can do yoga. And the second one, you don't have time, because it needs to become a priority in life. If it is not a priority for you to sustain a practice for your well-being of mind, body, spirit, or what I call it mind, booty, spirit, then what are you doing here? Then you're your life, right? Because you're just gonna waking up, working, eating, hopefully fucking, sleeping, repeating, right?
Yeah.
And then that's not really to be alive. Maybe you are living, but you're not truly fully alive.
Mm. Well said, well said. And what are some of your favorite yoga sutras and why?
Ooh.
Mm.
Um, oh my gosh. Well, I'm thinking here. Yoga's Chitta Vritti Nirodha has to be it because it's the pure
Okay.
definition of yoga itself, which is yoga is the cessation of the fluctuations of the mind.
Mm.
It doesn't say yoga is when you have your foot behind your head, or yoga is when you achieve bakasana or handstand. It doesn't talk about the poses. It talks about the purpose of yoga, and the purpose of yoga is to calm the monkey chatter
Mm.
brain that we have. So that's like my primordial, always go to Yoga Sutra. It's like, what is the purpose of yoga? Is yoga's Chitta Vritti Nirodha, to calm, my yoga teacher, where I trained, he said, we become mind whisperers. It's like you whisper to your mind and you're able to channel and you're able to center your mind. And so we, like the dog whisperer, we become mind whisperers.
Mm. That's amazing. And I think also if you studied Hatha Yoga and Hatha Yoga Pradipika, they don't mention a lot of yoga postures. It's just a few and mainly seated.
And a psychology on life. It is like a manual, I say, and I think I said it last time when we had our
Yeah.
session. It's like when you buy a refrigerator or a microwave, and you just don't just, well, now we assume that we know how to work a microwave, which is plug it in, push the big fat button. But even then, it has some more like intricacies to it, right? And the same with
Mm.
us, like we have this vehicle, which is our body. And when do we take the time to actually understand what the fuck is fascia? How does it work? What should we do with it? How
Mm.
does, like the pituitary gland, the pineal gland, like what is the purpose of that? How do hormones work? Like what do we do when we or in a bend, and how yoga helps us to better maintain this vehicle that we have, which is our body.
Beautiful. Are there any other yoga sutras that you particularly enjoy pondering
None
upon or that
at the moment.
resonate with you?
None that come to mind at the moment. I mean, there
Okay.
are so many, but like I need to go back to my Sanskrit to remember them, because then when I think of Sanskrit, I remember them.
Yeah. I know it's a whole nother language that I also am learning every day, little by little, the Sanskrit. Okay, what is your most significant failures to date? One of your most significant failures to date, and what have you learned from it?
Failures, I don't categorize them as failures. I categorize it, I'm not even fond of this word failure because it already filters the experience. By you labeling it a failure,
Mm.
it already denotes or connotes that something didn't work. And I think that
Mm.
every like my firm belief is that everything comes to us and happens for us for a reason. And the reason being that we are on a spiritual journey. We are on an expansive journey. So I wouldn't call them a failure. Like, I was married and then I wasn't. I decided to continue on my own. But that was, I don't see it as a, perhaps to society's eyes, perhaps to a certain either group or association of people, or people who have a certain particular belief, whether it's religious or not, they might see it and they might call it a failure. But to my eyes, I did the best that I could. I kept on going, and that decision back in the day has brought me to where I am now. So by no means is that a failure. The same
Mm.
as, either finishing a job, like quitting a job, or even when you get fired from a job, which, like, fortunately hasn't really happened to me. I've always felt like I'm in control of my workplace. But still, it's not a failure. It's a rite of, more so.
Mm. I love how you reframe that as a rite of passage. It's a
Yeah.
great way to look at
I
it.
mean, for you to stay in a place where you don't feel at ease, or where you feel like, your soul is calling you elsewhere, because
Yeah.
you can try to quiet and, like, not listen to that voice. But when it is a soul contract that we have with ourselves, with someone else, with a new soul mate, soul partner, the call isn't there. Ratika, are you there?
I'm here, Olivia. I'm here. I think, are
I
you there?
I just come in and
Okay. Okay. I last I heard was a soul contract about
exact
how
contract.
listening to that soul
To not
calling.
that. Exactly. So it's good to listen, to follow your heart, and to, through adversities, choose yourself and choose what you think is for the highest good of everyone involved, not just for your sake.
Mm.
Maybe if I stand up, now I'm standing up. Yeah.
I can just imagine you holding your phone up towards the sky.
Here, my hand is closer to the, yeah.
Don't tip over the balcony, okay? Like, make sure you don't walk like on the edge of the balcony and like, oh, I got Wi-Fi now. Yeah, next minute you're over.
Fine.
But I like that how you talked about really tuning into your what your soul is whispering to you, through the yoga practice or tantra, just giving yourself that vessel to listen to
Well,
your.
the soul speaks in whispers. So if we are, that's why silence is so precious, because it's only when we go within and when we allow for silence to happen in our lives, when we have the practice of going to that place of silence, then we can follow the guidance of the heart, as opposed to what the mind is always screaming, like, oh, you should do this and you should do that and this will give you more money and whatever, because fear is present. Like, the mind is so linked to fear, and the heart is linked to the intuition, and the intuition can only happen when you are quiet and silent and you actually have that moment of introspection, and then from that place you move
Mm,
forward. And so you can never go wrong when you listen to your heart, as cliche as it sounds, but it is true. At least it has been so in my life.
amazing. I love that. And Olivia, what have you read or listened to lately that really inspires you?
Woo!
Mhm. I know
So
you
a
do a
book,
lot of reading.
almost done this one. I highly recommend Marian Williamson. Any of her books, all of them are amazing. The one that I'm about to
Who?
finish,
Who's that?
Marian Williamson.
Marian Williamson. Okay.
And she had like a super tragic life. Like she was bonkers. She had a phase of her life of rebellion, and I think she's heavily involved with drugs, and so she has had like a very dense and dark past. And from that, it was like the phoenix rising from the ashes. She redefined her life, and she is a beacon of light for me. Like I've read so much of everything that she puts out, and the book that I'm reading now is called Tears to Triumph, and it truly is that journey from the darkest, deepest place where you think like, oh shit, what now? And how do you use all of that as fuel to take you higher than you ever thought you could, to the most divine and pure and innocent and powerful place. So that's as far as reading. And I am super hooked on Abraham Hicks's podcast.
Okay.
There I find is high quality.
Abraham Hicks's podcast. Okay, and Marian Williamson. Those are the
Yes,
two authors that you really inspire you.
exactly.
So, Marian Wilson, when she went from failure to tears of,
The triumph.
what did you gain to triumph? What did you gain from that? If there's one piece of key knowledge that you think would benefit
Just
people.
perspective, a different perspective on the same. I mean, nothing is new under the sun. There is nothing that is new. It's just a particular take from a specific kind of human. So everyone permeates it with their own energy. And as I'm reading, what I love about her literature is that it just is, I feel it's permeated with love, and it's also it's a very quick read. Like the words just, I don't know, they're like honey. They're smooth and they're sweet and they're like honey. And so when I'm reading Marianne Williamson's books, I always feel elevated and I always feel centered in my heart. Like the way that she writes is always very heart centered. So no matter what she is sharing at the end of the chapter or chapters, however long I read, I always feel elated, and that's wonderful because the work that I do has a lot to do with energies, and so I do consciously maintain a high frequency so that I can be a vessel and a conduit for the people who come to me.
I love that about you, and I really, when I watch you and I see you, I do feel that you are vibrating on a high vibration. So I look up to you. Hence why you're here again on Yogis That Inspire, because you inspire me to maintain and keep my vibration high. And I'm more conscious of it, and how so
It's
I really
throws shit at you because we are always ever expansive. There is no one that's like just done. There's no I'm done. I have like no, until the day we die, and like the continuation journey, we're always here learning. So yeah, glad that I inspire you. You inspiring me too, and it is an ongoing every single day journey, and it's a choice. There is choice in how we move our energies. I can be lazy as well and not do yoga, but then that's going to cost me, and then I don't want to be. Therefore, I stick to my routine.
Yeah, I like that. There's no such thing as a free lunch. You got to put in the work.
Exactly.
Or you pay the price.
Exactly.
If that's what you want, that's okay, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Same here today. Today I personally did like half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the afternoon, just to recenter myself, right? And to constantly come back to the practice to be like, okay. And then I feel love again in my own body, and I can radiate that love in my life as I continue.
Of course.
And okay, speaking of mindset, if you're in the shoes of someone who's struggling right now with their mindset, what is one thing you would change?
Well, what does it even mean to be struggling in your mindset? I would look at what is the pain? Like, what I ask my clients when I get on call with them is, what's on your mind? Much like Facebook. And then people are like, well, this has been weighing me down. And then they start to open up, right? And then we start to go deeper. And usually what I have found is that when they start to share, they think that that is the problem. But as we move deeper into the session, we go deeper as well in understanding, is that really it? Or is there more? Is there more? What else is there? What else is deeper? And then we get to the root cause of it, to the seed of the weed itself. And usually it's like, it started with like, well, let's just use an example, arbitrary example. Like, my partner just triggers the shit out of me because he leaves like the dishes on the dishwasher. When in reality, when we go much, 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 much deeper, it's something like, well, my dad abandoned us and my family when I was 3 years old. Like, how did that even connect? Right? And then here we go talking about fear of abandonment and like all of the sacred wounds, and how do we go about healing that and releasing that so that you don't get fixated as a superficial level problem with projecting it outwards towards your husband or your partner, but to have ownership of your own energetic baggage, let's call it. So the work, as I always say, it's never about them, it's always about you. It's always about what's inside that then gets projected on the outside, that then gets reflected back to you. So if I would say, if there ever is a perceived problem with an external source, whether it's a situation or a boss or a partner or a human, it's never about them. It is about how you are reacting and how you are adapting and what you are finding within that is either causing it or allowing it, because that's the other aspect of it. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense, because I also think that we're born alone, we're going to die alone. Everything we experience is really within. People outside and external to us just really trigger that experiences within us. And if we haven't, like you said, pulled out the seeds of the weed, then that is still growing and festering.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a constant for me anyway. I feel like it's a constant process through yoga to pull out those, or to trim my weeds or the seeds. Like, I don't know if the seeds are gone. I'm being honest. I know they're there.
It's an endless spiral, because as soon as you think you are done with an issue, the issue gets present, like the universe will show it back to you in a different form, just to test whether you have already passed that course, let's say. And so it's the same shit in a different disguise. And then if you become clever enough and you work with that awareness and you have a spiritual practice, then you're able to be like, oh, this is the same as that. And now I have a way to come this, which is faster and more painless.
Yeah. And you can almost alchemize that situation to better serve you than looking at it as a detriment, not a detriment, but like a mind, like a headache, if that makes sense.
Is this adding to my energy, or is it taking away? If it is something that it is stealing energy from you, it is worth cutting it out of your life. It's just, to what degree are we willing to do that? Because then we go into the whole dynamic of, well, it's my mom or it's my dad, or what is toxic in your life. And then sometimes it's not so easy, precisely because we have these bonds, or we have these preconceived ideas that, oh, well, we're blood, like it's my brother, my sister, But in the end, if it's not something that leaves you feeling at ease and at peace with yourself, then it's worth looking into, because there is also a two-way situation here, which is, one is, are you just rejecting it and not wanting to look at it, and that's why you're just like in flight mode? Or have you assimilated it, and are you taking a conscious decision to cut it out of your life? So one is an escapism and one is an integration. And the escapism will always bounce back. It's like you trying to dunk a plastic ball inside the pool, and the deeper you try to like squeeze it down, it'll just gain more momentum to go up. It's the same. But when you integrate it, you realize, like, I no longer need to fight this. I could just let it be. And that's when you start to allow people to be who they are, and you don't need to change them. You know how often I get as well clients who are like, well, he does this or she does this, and yeah, but like, how do you react to it? What are you going to do about it? Like, you cannot change the person outside. You can only affect you yourself.
Wonderful. Wow, Olivia, thank you so much for sharing all this wisdom. Can you please tell our viewers how they can connect with you and what you can offer for them to create a magnificent life?
Absolutely. So just follow me on Instagram, send me a message if you want to. Like, my thing and what I help people do is look at their shadow self in a way that allows them to not have that fear, you know? So that's why
Mm.
I call it like fearlessly hand holding you. So what I do is I create this space, this literal like container of love through which people can, at their own time and pace, see things in a different light, like literally see them in a different light. Because if you have a basement in your house and you know you grew up thinking that down there there's witches and demons and I don't know what, like chances are very slim that you're going to want to go down there and explore on your own. However, it is
Mm.
part of the home where you live. So if you have an area of your life like an iceberg, literally, like, you know, the Freudian image of the iceberg, which is, we know, just the tip of the iceberg, and that's the conscious mind, and then the subconscious mind is everything else that's, which actually is a high percentage. I don't even remember what the exact uh, digits are, but like, this is what moves us. This is our animalistic tendency and dreams and all of these things that are dormant within us. So the work that I do is precisely going into that subconscious mind and checking where are the roots of that energetic pain, of the emotional pain, of the pain of the soul. And then once we remove that, then your energy is recalibrated. And once you start to exist in higher frequencies, then the things that used to be a problem are a non-issue. And you get to experience love and joy and all of these higher frequencies, which to some people, like, when is the last time that they felt at ease, at peace, grateful, blissful, elated, you know? So we have come to this world to celebrate ourselves, the people around us, and it's very hard to do this when we have all of the aches and pains of the soul. So it's a healing of the soul. I would say I'm like a chiropractor of the soul.
I love that. And you do specialize in energy work. So working with that energy which you cannot see physically, it's like the energetic body, one of that kosha, which I love that you specialize in that layer of our shell,
Exactly.
you know.
Exactly. Well,
So
it goes through
yeah.
affect when one layer, you affect them all. When you start to work, for example, a person who comes to me and who says, look, I have a toxic relationship with food, therefore I am overweight. So we start to, instead of me giving them a lecture on apples and bananas and broccoli and like and chicken breasts, because, you know,
Mm.
let's be real, like, people already know the calorie count and that they should exercise, but oftentimes, even in spite of their goodwill, the weight comes back, which tells us that the root cause of that pain or of that condition is it goes much deeper. It's not at the level of running, walking, or what you eat. It truly is a pain of the soul. Once we heal that energy, once we shift that behavior, which used to be the coping behavior, which is like, oh, I'm stressed out, I'm anxious, or I'm angry or upset, and I forget about it because I want instant gratification. So I put something in my mouth and then I regret it twice because now I have the guilt of having done it, and also the kilos.
Mm.
So you see, it can be a downward spiral or it can be an upward spiral. And that's essentially what we do. So when you affect one layer, when we start to look at, okay, emotionally, what is there in the form of those seeds that we're talking about, when we pluck the root out, then you have an impact on the body. The soma follows, and you instantly start to lose weight. And it has happened. I always tell, especially the women, my clients who are women, I'm like, I need to warn you. And they're like, oh my God, what? So there's a side effect to working with me. And they're like, what? What's going to happen? Like, am I going to grow a mustache? I'm like, no, you might lose some weight. And they all just, you know, because you start to be happy. And happy, guess what? That an energy that is harmonious is harmonious on all levels. You have harmony of mind, you have harmony in your emotions, you have harmony in your body. And the harmony of the body looks like you look fit, you look good, you feel like you have a tight booty. That's how it feels.
It's a damn good side effect of working with you.
Exactly. Like, I'm not a brat. I'm 30 and like I feel
You
great.
look amazing. You look amazing. I'm telling you, you're like a fine wine. You just get better with age and time. Every year that
Oh yeah.
that I've known you, you just look, you're not, you're not aging. You're like getting more and more beautiful and sensual. And it's
Ooh.
so like, yeah, like that, very elegant to see.
Thank you so much. Yes. Well, it's the side effects
It's
of working
true.
with energy. So some people might call it magic, and this is what magic is because we cannot see the emotions, but we can work
No,
with the energy. The energy, the result is this harmony of mind, body, and spirit.
that's incredible. Like, I feel like we're witches, but in a
But
good
there's a
way, you know?
negative. That's what I mean. Like because witches way in the like whatever century they were burnt, yeah, at the stake,
Yeah,
and it wasn't misunderstood because people thought that they were using this power for evil. But in reality, what does it even mean to be a witch? Is to be able to alchemize energy. You have anger, and here on the other end, you spread love. You get, frustration, and here you go, some gratitude. That's what we're doing. We're playing dodgeball with dark energies, changing them into good energies. It's all a game.
yeah.
We're playing dodgeball energies.
And I also like was thinking the other day, like everything, like the universe is created of dark matter, right? So you use that dark matter, that dark energy, and you transmute it to a positive
The
one.
thing is,
And
if you because religion has brought this to us, which is to fear the unknown. And when we even say dark energy, that's already like, ooh, what's she doing? Like we
yeah,
have yin and yang. We have the so that we. I'm gonna pause till you come back. There you go. How do we
yeah,
integrate
I'm
it
back.
so that we
Yeah.
yeah, that we can be a force of good in the world, a force of change, but of positive change in the world. So there's nothing to be afraid of. When you lose fear, when fear isn't even a thing anymore, and it's not that fear ever goes away. Like fear can be present, but you choose courage.
Mm,
And when you choose courage,
mm,
then you actually can stand a chance to be alive before you die. you know if not, you're just waking up
mm.
repeating a groundhog day, and one day you'll be summoned and you'll be leaving full form, and then you'll be like, damn it, I was so scared the whole time. But when you lose that fear, when you actually
Yeah.
dare to follow you, the internal compass of you, but from a place of love, then that's when you are alive, truly alive.
I love that. Dare to follow you, the internal compass of you with love.
Yeah.
I feel like I should write that. That's such well said, well articulated.
My
And honestly, Olivia, it's just such a pleasure having you here with me today. Third time lucky. I really honor your presence, your time, your energy that you bring um, to your life, and it just percolates through and radiates throughout the world, like it's influencing me here in the UK. So continue, please, thank you so much. Like, I just can't express how grateful I am for you sharing your intellect, your wisdom, your knowledge that I'm sure will benefit so many others who listen here. And if you haven't already, please follow Olivia on Instagram, Olivia Mercado Coaching. I will tag her, and I will send this to you, Olivia, for a replay on Spotify.
Perfect. Thank you,
Yeah.
love, and all the best. Blessings to you.
So much blessings to you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Um, so, guys, Olivia specializes in energy work, and she can help you create your life. If it's not the masterpiece that you envision it to be, she can definitely be a catalyst for you to create that through her 4-week coaching program. I will put a link to her website where you can book a free call with Olivia. Honestly, you've got nothing to lose. So please take advantage of that fantastic opportunity towards creating your most magnificent life. And stay tuned for more episodes of Yogis that Inspire. Yeah, thank you so much.